We love Kirk, but Kirk used to like need a choir. Kirk used to need, but then you came and you brought everything. And what inspired Mali is that album.
Yeah, man. This moment, without knowing that it was going to come, I believe this moment inspired it. Me being able to drop something prophetic, musical, um, amazing, spiritual, that will let everybody know what was going on with me. So like I'm on an airplane and the destination of this flight is to the other side. Was me letting my people know, like, guys, I've been worshiping the Lord so hard. I've been set apart so distinctly that I'm actually in transit to the war zone. Like I'm going to the other side. Now, I'm not a traitor. It's not anything. I've been called and asked to go to these places. This is crazy. And on the way, there are powers in the air. You can't see them. And they're doing things that you don't know about. And they're firing directly at me, which they invited me so I could be in range. So now it's time for my God to be real. You get what I mean? It's time for all the things that I believe in to come, and it did. And I wanted to be a living, breathing, singing example uh, of that satisfaction and the liberty of the faith that I saw when Moses came in contact with God. His hair showed it. You get what I mean? Like it changed him completely. His face, he glowed. He had the glow, the first glow we ever knew, just from his contact with God. So when I got an opportunity to do Mali Is, I knew that I was going to meet resistance and there was going to be fear. It's kind of like if you're telling your children that you're going to the military. They're crying because they're saying, you're going to die. Your wife is sad because she feels you're going to die. Your kids are crying because they're like, we're going to miss you and you're going to get blown up. The only way, if you actually are going to this military to prove everybody wrong, is to bust everything that you see in the name of the family that already believes that you're already deceased. Hold on to the Lord. And if you make it back, then you have a testimony that no one expected, an authentic testimony with real bullets flying over your head in the real war zone that they're talking about on the news, in a relevant situation, and you are in range to make significant changes inside of that. Like, well, wait, we have someone else coming around. Wait, here comes number 11. Who is this guy? Now they're trying to find out what's going on because the opportunity got in the race. So Mali Is, just like the second coming, is always to show the people who are watching, look what we can do. Look what we can do. There were people who slipped on the ice for years, and someone changed their shoes and started gliding on it. All it took was a couple of years and some similar engineering for people to make everybody able to ice skate now. You get what I'm saying? So all I was doing is taking the terrain that we have and showing the mobility that we have while still in sustaining what we have. We don't know, you don't have to keep giving into those taxi dudes that keep taking our people and keep stealing our women and keep betraying and violating our young men inside of those snow cars, that because we're scared to go on the ice. And we hear all these horror stories about black ice, thin ice falling through from our forefathers. So man, once I saw that we can get across that thing with some faith and belief, just like the prophet Elijah, man, it was just a fiery blaze behind me. And I was moving at 175 miles per hour. And it wasn't by my power nor by my might. And I knew that there were more people from the place that I was going that had more faith than me. So they could be even more lethal in this situation. But I had to show them. I didn't have a camera. I didn't have a phone. I didn't have even people who had the faith to believe, but I had that opportunity to sing in that mic to let everybody know, like, I just got finished flying and it's really bananas over here, sending letters just like the apostle did when he was locked up. So that's what Mali Is, I believe, was a song that I had long before that. And it's actually what opened up the opportunity. And it turned out to be something prophetic. And the opportunity that I was signed to, they're saying, we can't meet the guy who wrote this song. We're seeing it being unfolded. We believe that you're the most talented and gifted individual in the world right now. We want to be associated with you. So it was a genuine connection from that side, but they didn't know how to cultivate it because I need a certain soil. I need a certain water. I require a certain care. And I needed all the people that were with me to come where I am.
So, so at a point in my life, I worked with MTV. I was
Yeah.
in Africa, and so Viacom owns BET, and we watched you perform at the BET. And I sat with my friend.
2011. Yeah.
Yes, and I sat with my friends, and they were like, "Is Mali Christian?" And so I'm a young Christian with the guys, and they're like, "Has Mali changed? Is Mali Christian? Has money changed Mali?"
I was
And
saying Job experience, right?
yes, job experience.
That's the Bible.
So I understand. No. We're on the same page. And my question is, in Nigeria, for example, we have phenomenal gospel musicians,
Yeah.
but nobody's really influential in
Yeah.
that space.
Yeah.
We do great music, we do great arts, but our numbers are like max 500,000.
Yeah.
But some guy 70 million, 100 million. So my question is, should we bother trying to influence the world, or should we just, because we can get bonds in the world, because the girls are there to seduce you, because you don't know how strong you are. So what do you advise us? Should we just stay, or should we go? But if we go, are we going to be strong? Are we going to fall? Talk to me.
Thank you for this. Thank you for this. Thank you for this. And God, anoint me in this moment so that I don't waste it. Don't go. What you're doing right now, is it not the same thing that they were asking you to do at MTV? Were they not
Yeah.
trying to find your creativity, your ideas? Hey, Foy, what do you think about this? Okay, we'll do that. And next thing you know, MTV gets the credit for the cutting edge of your idea. If you ever say, okay, I want to claim my idea, then there's going to be tension that's going to try to make you feel illegitimate, invalid, wrong. When if your ideas weren't valuable, then why would they continue to pay you to keep them progressing forward? So
Yeah.
that's something that I noticed that we need to pay attention to, that I didn't pay attention to it wasn't built. Social media wasn't doing what it's doing right now. And my goal young was like one dimensional. I was a country boy that was like, I want to be coming through those speakers. Like I felt that there were speakers that our music didn't come through. And as I would listen to our music being Fred Hammond, John P. Key, going back to choir music, Oh Happy Day, whatever it is. If it wasn't in the church, I was trying to find a way for somebody that had that influence to be in the mainstream, because my mother and supporters like her in those days in the church, they even believed in the spirit of the person who created a song. So if it's not right, don't listen to it, because even if it's a good or happy song, you're going to be infected in a way, that's negative. So that made me want, as you said, leaders and leading influencers who love the Lord in the light and forward. And then when I look on those times, I believe that that's the way that the Lord set up the world, in that he loved when the sun shone on the city of David, for worship constantly went up, and the most influential image was on his face constantly. He was the loudest worshiper, he was the fiercest mover. He would probably come in with the band, but he didn't only associate as a musician. Even though he was extremely gifted and skilled, he didn't only associate as a king. Even though he was extremely chosen specifically by God with oil, he did not overly identify himself, as a husband. You get what I mean? But if there was anything that made him a man after God's own heart, which was pretty much his title, it was because of the way that he acknowledged God through everything that he went through. I believe that we need connection to the people who are actively doing that in order to take that momentum to the other realm. So what is needed is what we're doing right now, is a bridge, an anointed bridge. There's bridges in certain cities across the world that connect one section to another section. It's separated by a body of water. And those bridges touch everybody. Some people commute here to work and they make it back. And if it wasn't for that bridge, their lifestyles would be different. So when we invest on the bridge, and we are actually the funding parties of it, we built it from the ground up, we connected the spaces on this end, and we also facilitated with agreement that doesn't forsake the kingdom on the other end, where the two ends of the bridge can touch, and why it's happening, man. So that time for conformity was never supposed to be, but the penalty is greater. You get what I mean? Like, it's now, because of our awareness, it's kind of like if you have any type of interaction with the police or law enforcement, it's just inflated now. There's no such thing as a small or minor interaction with police now because of how agitated that area is. So if you're apprehended or stopped, you're fearful because you don't know to what degree, you get what I mean, they're going to go. Now, this is what I will say. You're not safe anywhere. Okay? Our leaders that are inside of the church display great power and anointing in their comfort zones before us on Sundays and in conferences and banquets and such. Getting the word, they're going, but for some reason they may be uncomfortable one city over. And then a fraction of the anointing is gone because they're out of a comfort zone. And then we're trying to find out how to identify our powerful speaker in this realm because something has changed. So when God can trust somebody to be the same light here, there, that's a product of heaven that you can take everywhere. Wherever Christ went, even when he didn't feel like it, all were healed. None left who interacted with him unaffected. And even though people wanted to call him the healer as if he woke up to do it, it was a byproduct of his focus. And a byproduct of his focus was the fact that the earth was the bridge that he was constantly walking on, that was turning under his feet as he was commuting and going to a destination to get to another place in glory. So to bring all of this back down, you're not going to get this information on the other side. And I found, take for granted the wisdom, the atmosphere of worship, the environment of the Lord, the presence of the Lord, the comfort of the Spirit. I think we take that for granted, thinking that we can consistently manifest it in cars, lobbies, bars, lounges, convention centers, arenas, whatever, the location that makes it the most lucrative. But in the days of the past, God would pick his location. And wherever something happened, those who experienced it will set up an altar there as the anointed place that God chose. Now, God, can you move it around to Miami since we had a little bit of financial issues? Can you bring your fire down to a different place? I don't think it works like that. So I kept my gift as it is now connected with a heavenly destination. That's the way I stay spiritually funded. So whether money comes, opportunity comes, or provision comes, I'm funded by the right to go by something else. And that gives me provision that is bigger than what could be provided by one source or by men. And now at this point, I crave and have a huge appetite for seeing God move on his behalf in me. Like, there's nothing like think of a situation where there's about 16 people that are trying to get in a door, and the door that they're trying to get in is full to capacity on the inside, and they're denying people. But there's a person in the 16 that knows the one at the door and has a deep connection with the owner of the venue. So they lock eyes with that person and say, hey, let me in here. And something different happens amongst the 16. 15 are moved to the left and the right. And one is brought in for a purpose that had it don't matter if it's full to capacity or whatever. That person doesn't want to deal with what happens to them if it comes to the person that is important in this area, that they deny this person access. Now, man, that's the idea of the power that I have at foreign doors. All I'm doing is locking eyes with the one that God told me to go and find. I'm not distracted by the 12,000 other people there grabbing me and trying to see whatever. They are showing me by reflecting light at me that they're not even receptive. You know, what God told me is to come and look for this person, you know, or take the art here. So that gives me an intention. If I'm comfortable and when I'm secure and confident in that mission, there's a light that comes off me wherever I am, even if I'm in the elevator waiting to obey God by going to the next floor. You get what I'm saying? Whoever we encounter at that point, if you're excited about what you're carrying, people just start asking questions. And when you have answers in these days, you don't have to worry about evangelizing. It's just secure based on how it looks on you. You don't have to take me to the store or tell me the back end. It looks great on you. And at the end of the day, I was instructed by God that by slow obedience, which is disobedience, to believe in what He made in me. What I was trying to fix it up, partner it up, move it, slight it, tone it down. That's not how it goes. It's nothing like me making a song, mastering it, and when I play it, it's shy to play back the way that I mastered it. It's biased to give off the sonic appeal that I designed it to give off. I want it to slap the ears of the beholder. I don't want it to audio, suppress so that their ears don't pop. I want to snap in there. So I think just my craving for God, not in a divine way either, in a real way, like what makes a trainer or somebody that is physically stable, like super buff, if you will, it's just the dedication and the discipline to consistently break their muscles that makes it bigger. They're sending a message to their muscles that I'm forcing you to have to, go with the way that I'm going to be using you. And it's not always a health issue that makes them do it. It's not always means. Sometimes it's just what somebody chooses to eat, how they choose to live, and it's a way that they want to live their lives. So they choose to dedicate and connect to that thing. Somebody reads the newspaper every day for a reason. That's the choice to use a worship format to make sure that you're aware of what's going on in your world. You get what I mean? So that craving is built over time. And that same craving, I feel, is built vertically, because the only thing that could get me out of situations that I didn't know how I got in was having a God intention on me, on my body. Like, okay, I was told to be here, so I'm not caught up where I'm not supposed to be. You get what I mean? Like, good people get snatched up all the time because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong crew, looking like the wrong person. They can't even tell them that they're a prince because they just look like the rest of their friends, and they don't have any.
But
Please.
in your own space, have you ever felt like God is done with you? Like, have you in like a year or two not yet God, like you were off God? Did it ever happen to you?
I can't say it. I believe that if I ever got to a point that was low or close to that the Spirit was making me aware based on just experience of relationship with God, that part was on me. That part was on me. Like at my lowest place in my connection with God, do I not identify again as a sinner that thus has the right to get in this line and ask again from any place that I am to be forgiven or to man, I don't know. Now, so the fact that my belief system makes that my lowest place, I don't have to worry about being at that place, because all I'm going to do at my lowest place is be shot like through a spiritual geyser back up into the presence of God, because me being that makes me loved by Him again. I'm a baby again. He's not going to he's not gonna, leave me again. And there are times where it happens, and it is the will of God. Let me share this for anybody that is asking. Man, I was in the shower this morning thinking about what I was going to say right here on the Tweet It Conference. And I was thinking about the sheep in wolves' clothing, okay? And I was thinking about sheep being shepherded. You just asked me if there was a time that I felt that God was far, or if I felt that he had just done away with me. But forget me, let's talk about a sheep in the Bible. I don't know this sheep by name, but David did. For he was one of the sheep that his father told him to shepherd. According to the Bible, in one of those chapters that we don't read that much, it says that there was a time where one of the sheep was apprehended and already in the mouth of a bear. This bear had every right to believe that he had dinner that night. And that lamb had every reason to believe that his shepherd had forsaken him. I'm in the mouth of the bear. My shepherd is no good. My brothers left. They picked me. I don't know. I've never been this far. I might as well be dead. If you have the life to be saying or thinking that, you have the life to be asking for power. It all is based on who you are and what you believe. If you have seen your shepherd save your brother, your cousin, your mother, and your great-granddaddy, and in the time that you're apprehended, you don't believe he has the strength or awareness to save you, that's an identity issue with you. That's you having a value problem.
Oh!
So that's you having a value problem. You having a moment of disbelief. I'll continue in the story to get off of my words to say that it is proven that David re-apprehended the bear, slayed it, and then re-apprehended the lamb. So this sheep had a testimony unlike any of the others. It probably was unscathed and came back around that mountain bend where the rest of the sheep are just celebrating as David comes back with the skin of the bear and his little lamb walking next to him and his rod of reassurance saying, we are good. Now, what made David strong in this thing? Was it his strength? Was it his preparation to wake up that day and kill a bear? No! Before any of this happened, about 4 years ago, when he was younger and smaller and weaker and less experienced, his daddy said, go out there and take care of them sheep. And I want all my sheep there when I get back. And then a week passed and another week passed and the boy got good at it. Second year passed and now he just always out there with them sheep. Out there, he playing with slingshots. Come on, man. He climbing trees. He's sharpening knives because he got to cut wool daily. You get what I'm saying? This man knows what he's doing. To get to the point, this bear was nothing but an opportunity for David to miraculously obey a command that already was given to him. I had no business bothering you, bear, but you took something that's going to discredit me. You took a divine portion of a gathering that was directed for me to protect. Now me and you have an issue. Either you're going to give that back peacefully, which your fangs and claws say you will not, or I am going to have to take it in a way that I'm going to have to invent to obey my father. Get what I'm saying? So so I recognize in that I would be scared, and maybe David even was scared, but if not of the bear, of the shame of answering to his father saying, hey, where is Bartholomew the sheep? Well, there was
for his name's sake.
There was a bear that came, grabbed it. So I wasn't messing with the bear, right, Dad? Even if the father would understand, how much more victorious is it when Daddy come and says, Where's Bartholomew the sheep? By name. He's right there, unscathed. But mind you, Father, next to him is the skin of a bear that tried to take him today. So it's funny you would ask about him because he was sought after today by a great predator that I apprehended and killed. So here is your lamb, Father. And do you know that that will bring great favor and even more victory, even if he didn't get a compliment? Unbreathing, skin and fur, the hide of a bear, something that came to oppress. Now, any bear that comes will see a slain bear associated with this group of sheep. It's to a point to where one of the mightiest of things that saw and sensed, okay, maybe there's a slain bear, but I kill bears too. I could surely get a sheep. And it took one of David's sheep. And the same happened to this lion, thus giving him the victory of the fur, skin, and head of the lion, which I believe he became king by obeying his father viciously twice. Now, he was obeying his father every time he scooped up poop. And he was obeying his father every time that he gave birth to a baby lamb. He was obeying his father every time that he shaved wool for hide and turned it into clothing that helped them for things that we don't even know, burlap bags, whatever. But these notable obedient moments right here, they show that there was something inside of him that showed he did not care about the audacity of something that would come up against something that he was commanded to do, thus proving a small thing a bear, a bigger thing a lion, and a few weeks later, a giant coming against everybody. David was not a soldier. David was not preparing for no giant. He had no mind of anything but his brothers who would be right there with him. And those two are associated with his father. Bible says that he went to give them food, which is an off-task mission and had nothing to do with anything military or violent or martial at any hand. Heard the news of what was going on, spiritually analyzed it, and attacked it with a spiritual perspective. Now, the spiritual perspective that David had being, who is this uncircumcised Philistine who comes up against the children of Israel? Surely he should be cast down. Who is he alone to take down a legacy of God's promise? Will he slay us all? No. So I will definitely fight to defend. And I know that if he fought any one of you guys, you'll fight to defend. David was wrong. David was wrong because none of them would fight to defend. They all were scared because none of them had the unction to protect what belonged to the Father. Viciously, violently obey. Like, yo, get off my sister. Nah, bruh, I'm not finna be the brother that come back and my sister got beat up and mishandled because all y'all, so I don't care if it's 7 of y'all, it's finna be 7 homicides unless y'all let us go. You get what I'm saying? And I mean, what you sister to protect her that way? No. And 10 times out of 10, the father raised the son to say, go protect your sister. Yes, you're protecting your sister when you open the door for her. Yes, you're protecting her when you share your candy. But when you violently protect her, it is notable to the father because that is their spirit, because they will let nothing come near their own. So now, man, this unction and this spiritual perspective elevated little David immediately, because the next verse, he's talking to the king and trying on armor that not even the highest ranked in the army ever wore or was exposed to, and denied it. And denied it, thus blowing the mind of the king Whether this boy dies or lives, this man will remember this experience every day, because how is this boy so brave, and who is this God that he's believing in? David taking spiritual content into all of his battles made him victorious over all of them, because that was the only thing that could make him willing to go beyond the fear of a scratch from a claw, the bite of a fang, or even being killed himself. The desire to be killed, violently defending, is more glorious to him than mindfully and logically retreating to save his own life, thus sacrificing the lives of hundreds of other more innocent, helpless things. This wasn't nothing but a king in training, teaching another king that he was about to move. And it wasn't based on David even having the desire to be king. If you smelled his scalp deep enough, you might still have a resonant tone of the oil that was poured on his head by the prophet, because the boy was already anointed king, and he's talking to you as the king and just wants to go back and tend to his flock. This is the posture that I believe that we should take. The church will always be harvesting people who need protection. The church will always be full of people who want answers to questions. It's a hospital, if you want to call it that still. After people in the hospital are made well, they're brought home. When they go home, they are sent with something that they go to the pharmacy so that they can sustain the procedures that took place at the hospital and it not be broken or infected in the home area, so that they can go back out and be effective in their lives, bring wealth to themselves, and change the communities. If you don't have a God agenda, you will not be victorious in the storm. If you don't have something on you that's made from God saying, go do, you're going to burn. You're going to burn. It's the only thing that cannot be destroyed and the thing that cannot be denied. Everybody else gets denied, but the one dude looks at you for 6 seconds more and says, let him in. You the only one that know why, because no, everybody else was hoping to get in, and God told you to go. If you are amongst them with that agenda, then when they say no, you know that they are wrong. And then you will just look for the righteousness in life and you'll find your way in. Anybody else will be looking like they're trespassing, because they will be going in their activity in a devious or a negative or a dark mindset, saying, I'm going to sneak, I'm going to break the rules, I'm going to do that. But with the God token, it's just no. It's just no. Bullets come. No. Bills come. No. These are valid deterrents to any and all other things. But to the righteous or to the violent, you just collect the skin of vampires and demons and things that are foolish enough to get in God's way. If you are God's vehicle, name something that's not at risk of getting hurt if it gets in front of your car. Your car is synonymous of your will, and I want to go there 80 miles per hour right now. So as the controller, you press the gas, and now you are transporting at that speed, and you hope nothing is in front of you, because if something gets in the way, lest it be steadfast and unmovable, it will be flung to the side. That is the goal, and that is the way you get the spiritual velocity to penetrate doors and to go into realms that other people are blocked from, because there is no denying that. It's sharper than any two-edged sword. It's the word of God telling you to go so you can pierce. So, man, that right there, like, if I ever felt that way, I've had experiences with God from apprehending me from the hand. Like, God wanted these dudes and allowed these dudes that stood up for him in front of King Nebuchadnezzar in the word to be thrown in the fire and for it to be turned up. They had every opportunity to feel that God had forsaken them. That's my point, doctor. You asking me a question like, if you have words dying, then you have words of worship left when the knife enters your belly. If the knife entering your belly is you believing that God has betrayed you, you don't believe in life. And you get what I'm saying? That means that you've gone beyond your point of belief and that God can't work. Like, okay, if I actually go in a coma, then God has failed me. No, he wants you to go in this coma, experience what you're going to see in that coma, wake up changed, tell everybody about what you saw, because nobody will be able to deny the fact that you were asleep for a year. So you don't think you're going to wake up changed? I don't want the coma. It gave you the power to know. You get what I'm saying? So like, I don't know, like those are the things that's going. If somebody didn't have that dark moment in their testimony, we wouldn't even read their books. You get what I'm saying? So like, no, God can't fail in those ways, even unto death, because there were many who failed. Like I've learned that, see, God is a God of grace. Christ is a God of grace. And they already knew from the beginning that 3 days was too long to believe that he was going to come back. Like the God of creation has the right to be dead 5 days and come back. But 3 days was too long for those who even sat with him to believe still. You get what I'm saying? Like he needed to come back quick. People, once he came back, they still didn't believe. Like until I put my fingers through the holes myself, I'm not going to believe that he's actually risen, even though he told me this would come. That's because that dude's mission and his disbelief was going to be, that was his choice of finding out. So because of his disbelief, he got to put his fingers in the holes. He had to deal with the disgust of his request because it was the requirement of his belief. Man, look. And that was the power that Yeshua was saying was the thing the whole time. There was a man that Christ came in contact with when he was alive, and he said, just send the healing over to the house. I know you got the power to do that. I don't even need to go through all this. And now you have great faith, saying there's something that's like, well, what do I have to do, Lord? Do I have to dance before you? Do I have to stay in the temple for 50 days? Take this little cup of water right here. Go and sin no more. Never be thirsty if you decide to not be thirsty. And if you don't want to eat again, you could be filled forever. Man, it's according to you. At that point, I need experiences. And every time I get experiences, I get roughed up. Every time I get experience, I come out with a wound. You get what I'm saying? And then that's the only way that you know that it's real, because you recognize that God designed the body, all bodies, to heal. And the only reason that we're designed to heal is because we're going to be scraped up going through, you know what happens. Even babies got to walk on their knees. Come on, get scuffed up to walk.
Oh man, someone asked a question and said, Mali, how do you find your sound? Was it given? Did you fight for it? Did you discover it? How did you find that sound?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you how I found my sound. Shame! Doctor, have you ever recorded a song and hated how you sound? Have you ever been in the house and singing a song that you felt you wanted to be a little bit more powerful, but you felt like it was flat? But someone else in the house says, sing! Now, if it was up to you, you would have been like, oh, I thought it sounded terrible. When someone else is getting fed to the core. Shame is what brought the sound, man. I want it to sound like everybody else. Who doesn't? The thing about it is God makes us unable to sound like anybody. So I appreciate and lay into his design. So since I respect his design, even in the ridges in my vocal cords, I use them. I use the breath that he gives me to let them come through, and I don't ask the question. I don't ask this frog why his ribbit sounds different than that frog. Possibly because he's a different species of frog and he's a lot smaller. So there's not a unanimous sound that comes out of frogs. There's a similar sound, but there will be different tones, different rings, and those things I just started to recognize that's what the Lord wanted. For if I had a 88 key weighted triton or motif or rolling in front of me, and every note I pressed was C major, I need the different tones. I need this note to be this note every time I play it so I could know, when I want to add it in. So, but to not make it all up in the air, I wanted to work the tone, and I believe the affirmation from God. I believe the affirmation. When God created, he sat back, observed, and said, that's good. The waterfall kept going. He was like, yeah, I'm still feeling what I felt when I asked that to be. So that is good. You get what I mean? And then, we'll move on. So it was a lot of study in my own voice. That's why I was asking for my folks to get me Pro Tools early. I was recording on the PC before that. When you go down and press start, you go up to accessories, you bring up the sound recorder. It gives you 60 seconds to be able to record a sound into whatever mic you have. I would bring up 6 of those and patch them to make like this longer track. The way I would know that I was going to do it is I would lay the lead on the first one. On the second track, I would wait and lay the first harmony. On the third track, I would wait and lay the second harmony. And I would have this ashy thing, but that's how I learned that I understood harmonies, because they resonated back when I heard them. And I just wanted to keep using that gift. Anytime I had victory, then I'm going to do it. If you take a step and you almost fall off the right side of your foot, if you stop your fall, you gain that IQ and that muscle memory on how to resist falling in that way. So I think it's just that using the gift, is what it is. So, and I wanted to make the Lord pay attention to my music. I wanted it to be something that said that I was violently fighting for the identity that he gave me. That's similar to all of the people that, that I watch. So I couldn't do that with certain things, certain passive sounds or certain words that didn't make the spirit of God inside of other people listen to it like it was different. So I challenged myself on the sonics and the sound effects that I use. And I normally use rejected sounds that people won't use. Make sense of it, bring a tonal degree to it, and before you know it, everybody's not even recognizing that it's a sound that they would have passed up if they were a producer going through a bundle of sounds, because I made it nice, just because it was just as rejected and beat up as my voice might be. So my voice with that coming into something with piano, all of a sudden makes something different, because we now like listen to something that may not have been appealing by itself because it was mixed with something beautiful.
So I asked you last night on your chat, and I said, do you deliberately do stuff or do you stumble? And you said, we stumble.
Everything's a stumble, yeah.
We stumble, and then, now, let me take it further. Should you want fame and ambition? Is it bad to want to be great, to put in the work?
I love this question.
Is it bad? And the work is the work. The work is brutal. The work is almost, the work is lonely. It's kind of it's not selfish, but it's, the work. Is it bad to be that?
Yes.
Why?
Well, just because of the effects that it has on other people. If you care about that, as we're directed to in certain times, then it can go. But it doesn't mean that it's like not necessary. For example, it is bad to fight, right?
Yeah.
My knuckles on skin is never good, but there's a righteous reason that I can't fight. In a moment, boom, could be right, man. Get him, get him out of here. You get what I'm saying? If people are watching, they aren't feeling bad for the person that got hit. You get what I'm saying? So this is what I mean. Context, man. Context. context. In my song Molo, I say, I just want to be like you, like you. I say that in a box dressed for my moment. Get what I'm saying? So I could have sung anything in that box. 2011 on the BET Awards, not knowing that you were watching in Nigeria from MTV, was owned by Viacom, watching the award show while they're asking me to perform. I'm like, I want to sing a song that leaves an impression in a certain way. And in the moment that was built for me to promote myself, I sung, and the cycle goes again. Typical story, y'all. A good man, giving God glory, y'all. He's a God-fearing man, perfect husband, excellent pops, and he finally received that raise, cash in the bank. Okay, which is not a song about me. It was a story from the Bible, translated, and it made people relate to a story. So it wasn't fireworks behind me hitting the high note at the end, and it wasn't that, even though that could be what we associate with greatness. So now follow me. Do you see the pattern that I am trying to set from my platform that I want us to associate with greatness? I want us to work to get the valid opportunities to bless God on. You get what I'm saying? That's the temptation that a lot of times we may not be able to do, because say we have 11 songs on our album, 8 of them are straight up worship songs, and 2 of them are songs about striving for greatness, being the greatest, and then you got one rap one on it. The hook on the song about being the greatest is the catchiest, so people start to know you for that. They don't necessarily listen to the album and hear the worship song. And when they do click your name, they want to hear more of what they like from, that catchy song that you gave us. Now you get business opportunities that say, we want to work with you, but we want you to lean more towards the great you. And can you start to lose some wasting tracks on the worship parts? You get what I'm saying?
Get it. I get it.
This is the only reason I said it's bad, because now you've created a conflict within your own self. The only way to avoid this is to go back to what I've been saying the whole while, and it is to knit and embroid and embed God's direction in your activity, in your gift. If he is associated with it, it has like a superpower on it that makes people not able to ignore it or forget it, because it has more on it than you can ever make or create. When that happens, you have to trust that you sitting in his presence and in the places that he will sit you, which is probably like some type of spiritual dojo with some mentor or counselor that you get tired of, but that person is making you great. And they're teaching you that when you hit them with this move in front of everybody, that you're going to change from this little person that used to serve me into someone that everybody's going to be asking, how did you get that? And now you're going to be trying to find how to answer that question because you hated the training. You forsook the process. You get what I'm saying? And you didn't respect or honor what was actually giving you this ability.
Get it.
But greatness is required. I've been spending time with great people, powerful people, and every time that they walk or speak or flow in their gift or their powerful thing, I feel the presence of God. I feel the presence of God flowing through it. And then that begins to show me that those are the things that God seeded in us. Because as I would speak to these people, every time I think of God, I see him seated in a throne. Do you? Do you ever vision God just like standing or running somewhere? No.
Whoa, man. So Mali, is deep. It's context.
I'm sorry. I'll just finish it. Seated on that throne means that his word is the power. Everything that is going to happen around him is going to be from the direction of his mouth or the power of his will. Everything in front of this throne acts out what's going on. So I don't have to stand up because my will be done. You get what I'm saying? From this chair, very similar to if we have a throne or a point of power in our house and we sit there, it's like, hey, grab me something out the fridge, and it comes. You get what I'm saying? Your kids even might start getting the remote. Things start to come to sitting at you. Okay, now, if the Lord is always seated, he is a ruler. Okay, so rulers are saying the things that's going. Now, there's the Lord, and we disseminate from him like seed turning into nations or whatever. And the ones that we note and care about under him are the rulers, the ones that sit in little thrones, like the ones that sit like him and speak from the power like him in their realm, and then is carried out by people in the world, and he's able to see the reflection of his reign and rulership go down. And then that ruler has a son, and guess what he wants to see? Ruler, he wants to see his son say, hey, don't do that. And then he starts to grow into that. And then even if that son has a daughter, what does he want her to do? Rule, right? So now this makes us rulers. So now, instead of aiming for greatness as kingdom-minded people, let us tweak it to the point to where we change our aspirations for greatness to a desire to rule like the one who gave us the ability to rule. That we look to find our thrones, sit in it unapologetically, and just start talking, because that's when things are going to go. So no, it is not wrong for you to aspire to your place in the earth. You get what I'm saying? If it's an athlete or a championship boxer, a prison can't even keep him in there if he beat enough people up. He will be able to come from that prison to the heavyweight champion. He will be able to be a champion because you can't keep a champion boxed. Somebody in the legal department will find a way to get this fighter seen. Well, look, guys, he's too talented to just rot in there. Let's see if we could do 1 or 2 fights. Let's see if we could do something. Now, whether he a killer, violent, or whatever, his activity, you get what I'm saying? I'm just saying, his rulership, his dominion, the unquestionable dynamic about what makes him a threat to the world, no matter who's he in front of, causes him to get God opportunities.
So Mali, we have just 3 minutes.
Okay.
They're begging you to do one song.
Yes.
So everybody's saying beautiful.
Let me see if I can do it with this.
Guys,
I don't even know if it's too.
It's a big deal, guys. Beautiful.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah, okay. It's a blessing to see people with their heads up to the sky still, oh yeah. 'Cause honestly, for the same people, life can be so real. I'm amazed by all your strength. I am, yes I am. And I'm grateful to come through together. Let's take some time to stop a moment and show some gratitude. Come on, I put my lighter in the air for you. I see what you're doing, yeah, I see what you go through. Got my lighter in the air, true, you're beautiful. Oh, got my lighter in the air. Everybody singing together with some new songs. Lighter in the air for love. It's beautiful, sounds beautiful, oh yeah. Sounds like yeah. Oh, now. Yeah. Sounds like heaven to me. Yeah, Yahweh. I got my right and ring, yeah, the truth is you're beautiful. Oh, oh, oh,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
bless
So
y'all.
much.
God bless
Guys,
all the other speakers. I pray everybody pours out from their heart. I hope that everything
amen.
that I said, can be a blessing, and
Amen.
everybody is ready to be seized by the bear and the wolf and the lion, so that the truth of God's power can be displayed in your life.
Mali, thank you so much. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you
Bless
so
y'all,
much.
man. Thanks for having me. I pray you guys were pleased. I'm about to get some breakfast.
Peace, y'all. Bless you, man. Guys, it's been a wrap. It's been amazing. It's been amazing, guys. It's been amazing, guys.